Thank you for joining us, Steve.
Sure.
So now that SAP is ready to go GA with BI4, can you talk about the key KPIs that were holding it up?
Sure. Well, it wasn't really a number of KPIs. It actually came down to one. If you look at the trends that we were watching, we saw bug count drop, we saw escalations drop, and those are all really positive trends, especially in the late stages of the program, of the ramp-up. But one of the KPIs that we said was no red customers. It was an absolute as part of our ramp-up program. And we had one red customer. And the issue that they had really wouldn't have affected the larger populace of business objects users out there. But we decided to stick to our guns and really focus on delivering that KPI, which was no red customers. And that's why we selected September the 16th as the general availability date, is we felt that was the date that we would have cleared all of our issues with this one customer. And we're, I think, very proud of the fact that we stuck to our guns and we've delivered on every KPI that we set out to deliver.
So how many ramp-up customers are there?
Well, I can't be sure entirely if this is a record or not, but from a ramp-up standpoint, the program's been huge. We've had over 4,000 downloads of Business Objects 4.0 already. We have over 400 known implementations. It actually may be 600, I'll need to confirm, but it's in that range, of implementations, a huge number of customers that are already running it. I've talked with companies that have 1,300 users up and running already on BI 4.0 with no reported problems or escalations. So we're starting to see larger deployments, starting to see hundreds and hundreds of live deployments. I'm very pleased with that. So the numbers are big in terms of the program itself. I think it's a very, very high quality release. I'm pleased with the results.
Those are really big numbers for a ramp-up program.
Yeah.
So the other question out there on the minds of customers, especially SAP BW customers, is should I go with BI 4.0 or should I wait for BI 4.1? What would you say to them?
Go with 4. So first of all, as is the case with some of our products, it's really not a 4.0 versus 4.1. I think that we're starting to lean towards it's 4.0, and rather than potentially calling it 4.1, just call it 4.0 Service Pack 1.
Okay.
I think the whole 4.0, 4.1 thing is really overblown. 4.1, which effectively will be a service pack, the reality is that most of what customers will want, it's in 4.0. Look at the incredible UI enhancements. Look at the integration at the universe level with multiple sources. Look at the administration benefits that come with 4.0. If you don't move to 4.0, I think it's a huge miss in terms of total cost of ownership reduction, in terms of new features that your end users will love. And lastly is the huge reduction in training. I mean, the consistent UI across web intelligence, crystal reports, dashboarding, that being able to learn one and you know them all, that's a very powerful capability in 4.
That's really interesting. So our last question here is sort of a cultural one. It's been 4 years since the acquisition of Business Objects by SAP,
yes.
And it's very well known that in the beginning there were some bumps between legacy Business Objects customers getting used to the SAP way of things, especially when it came to maintenance and support and the way SAP rolls out product roadmaps, things like that. What have you done well in the last 4 years in trying to integrate the two cultures, and what still needs work?
Well, I mean, the reality, and I was here at the company when the acquisition transpired, and it's safe to say that we didn't sprechen when we were acquired by SAP. I think there was definitely a new culture that we had to get used to. And 4 years later, I can say we absolutely sprechen. I mean, we are totally part of SAP. There is no Business Objects, SAP separate. It's all one company, it's all one family, and I love it. Now, what I'm proud of is if you look at when the acquisition took place, the 3.x versions of Business Objects products, those were built by Business Objects completely separately from SAP. Now, if you look at 4.0, that was built completely under the roof of SAP, 100%. We are seeing huge performance gains and benefits by that. We're seeing 3 times, 5 times, sometimes 10 times faster performance in our integration with SAP because of that co-innovation that's transpired and kind of the cross-pollination of resources. Now that said, still have a huge focus on customers that don't own anything from SAP. And if you're a business object customer and you don't have SAP anything, the user interface enhancements, the new data integration, the live web connectivity, the multi-source universe, these are all no-brainers. Your company's missing out if you don't get on 4.0.
And what about the advancements in terms of delivering on some of the requests that the business objects customers had around better clarity on maintenance and support agreements and better clarity on roadmaps? Do you think that SAP's done a good job there?
I think we could do a better job. I mean, the reality is that from Business Objects Classic customers, it's probably just getting used to the way SAP does business versus the way Business Objects did business. It's not better or worse, it's just different. Now, if you look at roadmap clarity, this is a passion of mine. And we obviously have legal implications that we have to be careful of because we can't, make promises on specific dates and times and products, and then if we do have to change those because of quality or any issue, we have to be very careful with that. So from my point of view, transparency at a roadmap level is one of the biggest priorities of my team. In fact, every week for the last couple of weeks and going forward, I'm reviewing every single roadmap across business intelligence, EIM, EPM, GRC, data warehousing, analytic apps. And the big push that I have is to start publishing these roadmaps on our BI blog that we have, which I'd be happy to share the URL. But I think that level of transparency is what I'm aiming for as a management team.
Steve, thank you so much.
Thank you.